Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to Life After Mental Illness. I'm Bill McPhee, your recovery expert, and recovery is when you wouldn't want to be anyone else other than who you are today. In today's vlog, I'm actually on my way to get my injection again. It's been a month since the last time. I'm not going to show you the actual getting the injection, but if you want to see that, you can go back in these vlogs, go back about a month or so, and you'll see the video of me actually getting my medication and explaining that. However, today what I did is I explained about delusions and insight, and so hopefully you'll want to tune into that and stick around for that. And tomorrow I'm going to be speaking in Windsor, Ontario, and so I'll probably bring you some vlog. I may interview the president of that organization where I'm speaking, or may have some clips of me actually speaking there. Might show a little bit of Windsor, so not really sure, but I know that we're looking at that. So anyways, I just want to give you that intro, and remember that recovery is when you wouldn't want to be anyone else other than who you are today, and there is life after mental illness. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to today's vlog. Today I'm on my way to Niagara Health Systems Hospital in Niagara Falls to get my injection. It's time for my antipsychotic injection. However, I'm not going to show you that. I actually showed you getting my needle, my injection, about 4 weeks ago. So if you want to see that, it's called Bill gets his antipsychotic medication. You can go back and see that. But what I do want to talk to you about today, that I told you to talk to you about, is delusions and lack of insight. I want to start with the delusions and basically tell you what a delusion is. Basically, a delusion means a false reference, or even simpler, a made-up story. And these made-up stories are caused from our chemical imbalance and the things that we see that affect our senses. So for example, a delusion may be, for example, somebody that I talked to said that they went for a trip in New York City, and they found out they were at a party, and they found out where this famous person lives, and they went to the apartment, and they knocked on the door, and they saw this superstar and everything like that. Now, at front value, you think, well, yeah, that maybe happened, or is that this person who was ill, is that a delusion? Is this a made-up story? And really, sometimes some of the stories that you hear can be so convincing and seem like it could really happen that you kind of shake your head and say, well, that possibility. Even in my own case, my delusions were based on, I thought that I could turn back time. My delusions were religious delusions, all kinds of things, stories that are happening to you. Another example is I can remember being on the ward, on the psych ward, early in my illness, and my parents were visiting me, and then there was this girl on the ward as well. Her name was Darlene, and Darlene came back, and she was all bruised. She was all bruised of her side, and her rear was all bruised and everything like that. And we said to Darlene, Darlene, what happened? And she said, oh, well, she said, I was down by the gorge near Niagara Falls, and looking over, and I fell down, and I rolled down the gorge, and I hit some rocks, and then there was this skunk came. The skunk came out and sprayed me and that kind of stuff. And you know what? I know it's not funny, but you're on the psych ward and things are doom and gloom and everything like that. But I got to tell you, after talking to Darlene there, my parents and we were just laughing and just literally on the floor, rolling, laughing, because we didn't know whether it was really true or not. And but to Darlene it was true, but we heard it and we just thought it was one of the funniest things, and we laughed and laughed and laughed. So you get all kinds of stories that people are famous, that they have lots of money, or there's deals in the works, that they have a music contract. So basically delusions are made up stories, and sometimes they can be really convincing. It's the same thing. If you've ever tried to go to emergency and admit somebody who was dealing with a mental illness, who you knew who was clearly a danger to themselves or others, and this person, you needed to get them help, they would see an emergency doctor, and yet a person might straighten right up and talk normal, be fairly rational and everything like that, but you know deep down in their mind they have a delusion and they are very, very sick, but yet they can't get admitted into the hospital because they seem perfectly fine to an admitting doctor. So those are a little bit delusions. Now, want to give you an example. This is a great reference. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe. Ron Howard produced that program, A Beautiful Mind, and Russell Crowe played John Nash. Well, in that movie, you see John Nash, Russell Crowe, being all paranoid. He's seeing code coming off the wall of the Pentagon, and he thinks he's a secret agent cracking code, and all of his in his shed, in his garage, he had all this code papered up on all the walls of newspapers. Anyways, watch that movie and you can clearly see that John Nash was in a delusion. He thought he was part of the government, working on cracking code for the government, and thought he was an agent and delivering top secret things and everything. That was his delusion. Even when he was in the psychiatric ward, where it showed his wife would come and visit, and he would say, he would be caught up in that delusion and said, they're trying to get me and all this kind of stuff. And his wife would say, John, no, this is just in your mind. It's not true. It's not true. But to John Nash, it was truly, he believed that. To Bill McPhee, when I was in my psychosis and was delusional, I truly believed that was happening. When Darlene said she fell down the gorge and got bruised, and the skunk came out to spray her, she totally 100% believed that. When somebody was in New York and they went to the apartment building and they saw somebody famous, they got invited in, it's 100% real to that person. Now, why is that? Why is our delusion so real to us? One of the reasons is that because of paranoia. A lot of times when people are delusional, there's traces of paranoia, or we're paranoid. And what happens with our paranoia is that coincidences happen. And these coincidences that happen really back up our paranoia, and it feeds into the delusion. It feeds into our false reference. For example, I went to a relatively new friend's house, and he said, well, Bill, what kind of music do you like? And I said, well, I like, Olivia Newton-John and Neil Diamond. And he said, really? And he goes into his cabinet, and he pulls out an Olivia Newton-John record. And you're saying to yourself, and you're kind of paranoid, and you're thinking, how can this person have the same kind of music I just mentioned? And so fine. So then I leave the apartment, I get into my vehicle, I turn on the radio, and what's playing but Olivia Newton-John set. These things are coincidences, and coincidences happen all the time, but they really back up our paranoia, and they back up our delusions. So, so that's kind of
what happens, and all of our senses, and our delusions are based on our paranoia and the coincidences that happen. And believe me, when we are delusional, we don't 100% believe everything that's happening to us, because we try to figure things out, and some things make sense and other things don't make sense, and it's really, really difficult. Okay, now moving on, kind of like a segue. So when we're delusional and we have these made up stories, but they're really real to us, that's known as lack of insight. They'll say you have lack of insight into your illness. And it's very true, because we truly realize that these illusions, we think that they're true. Now, in my case, what happens is that my delusions and my lack of insight, when I got on the proper medication and my delusions didn't make sense anymore, my paranoia went away. You're thinking, well, the things that used to happen, the coincidences and the way I felt, and all these things that are happening have gone. Things that you thought were funny before, they're not funny. Things that you thought you made sense before doesn't make sense. And really what happens is that when we get back to reality, we say things aren't really delusional anymore. You're back basically to reality. And that's where you're going to throw these seeds of doubt. For people who are in that stage of whether they're delusional or they have insight into their illness, you need to throw them seeds of doubt. And these seeds of doubt saying that, you know what, John, really, that didn't happen, or you just think that, or if that was really true, you throw some seeds of doubt, because we're really thinking, what's going on here? And that's what a lack of insight is. A lack of insight is basically we don't believe we're sick. And unfortunately, that's what makes physical illness different than mental illness. Because when we have a physical illness, our brain can say, yes, I'm sick. But when the brain is broken or the brain is sick, it doesn't know it's ill. The brain doesn't know that it's ill. And so our delusions and everything are very, very true. So that's a little bit about delusions, and that's a little bit about lack of insight. And if you really want to see how that works, in the movie A Beautiful Mind is a great movie to see, and then you'll just kind of really understand what I'm talking about in this vlog. Anyways, that's good enough for today. I talked about delusions and false reference, so I hope that has helped you. And if you have a question for me on recovery, just feel free to email me, bill@billmcphee.ca, and or go to our website, billmcpheerecoveryexpert.com, and you can learn more. And remember, there is life after mental illness, and recovery is when you wouldn't want to be anyone else other than who you are today. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hi. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and also be able to send me your questions at bill@billmcphee.ca. As well, for more information, go to billmcpheerecoveryexpert.com. Links will be in the description below. Come back for another vlog tomorrow, and remember, recovery is when you wouldn't want to be anybody else other than who you are today. And there is life after mental illness. Have a great day.